He's terrifying. He's unstoppable with a kill count of several dozen. And that's just our special guest, CrippDaddy. And I guess Michael Myers is kind of cool too. That's who we're talking about this week. But I wanted to get right to introducing our friend, CrippDaddy, who we know as Donovan, and we'll be calling Donovan this whole time. So you guys are going to have to deal with it. I'm Renezuo with my fellow lore keeper, Tom Sweeney. Say hello, you guys.
Hello. How's it going?
Hello, hello.
I'm very happy to have you on here. We've actually been trying to get Donovan for a while, but we've been just trying to get the right thing to talk about, the right thing to go off about. And he informed me that he has a certain passion for horror movies and some strong feelings about the Halloween franchise as a whole.
I do. I'm actually very, very passionate about this subject matter in a way that rivals like a middle-aged dad and like his obsession with trains.
Oh my god.
That's
It's
so
just not
specific.
But you know it. You know
You
what
know
I'm
how
talking
dads
about.
get? Like dads have like trains or planes, it's one of the two. And
It's
it's like,
those are
yo,
the
I
only things.
I was like, yo, I hate how they changed the design of trains, period. I miss when they were straight up gas powered locomotives. And it's like, Dad, that you didn't live through that. You never saw that, Dad.
You were not there during the Western days, and you're like, no, but I watch movies about them.
And I wish it stayed that way. Some things shouldn't change,
I don't like change. Certain people get the right to vote, and then they change the way trains work. I don't like it.
What's next, man? What's next? Anybody can get married to anybody else?
I don't like it. And that's how I feel about Michael Myers and Halloween.
Oh man, so I actually had to go back and rewatch the movies recently because,
welcome.
yeah, I don't, I haven't watched any of them in a long time. I haven't seen the reboots. I want to see the reboots because, generally speaking, I think some of the horror reboots that we've seen are a little bit better than the originals. I had a little trouble actually. Like, obviously, the first Halloween is like the slasher template that everybody
Yeah.
seems to follow. Like, everybody,
It's number one.
Yeah.
It's the go-to thing.
yeah, they like. There's no backstory really besides this kid just has a switch go off one day and is like kill, and then he breaks free several years later, and the switch still says kill, and that's it. That's all they give you, and you've got the stereotypical like it's almost kind of like a monster movie in that you've got like the doctor is the good guy, you've got the virginal victim who makes it to the end, the final girl, and it's very interesting to see the original template, but when you have all the other stuff stripped away, it almost seems plain in comparison to what we have now.
Oh, very much so.
That's very true.
Yeah. No, I think the thing that made Halloween so, I think, just a breath of fresh air at that time was a lot of horror movies, especially the ones that followed afterwards, were like really gory, over the top, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all great in their own right. But with the simplicity of the Michael Myers story, it's like you said, it's just a kid that was born fucked up, and that's it. There's no rhyme or reason. I mean, until you get into the later sequels, which
Yeah.
Again, we'll get to.
But I
Let's
can't
get
I can't remember which one it is, part 5 or part 6, where they start explaining like
magic.
Fucking
Literally magic.
Celtic curses. It's like,
And
come on,
druids.
man.
And that was like,
Druids shit.
excuse me?
Dude, if druids were like that in D&D, I wouldn't consider them pussies all the time.
You
that'd be
talk
dope.
shit about my druid so much, and it makes me really upset. I'm just gonna ignore you because you don't know what you're talking about. You're clearly crazy. But it gets like I am someone I have become numb to horror movies. The first horror movie I watched personally was Exorcist. I watched it when I was 5. And that
Right.
movie broke something in my little brain.
Oh, man.
It scared me to the point I wasn't making noise anymore in the house. I was like, I'm just gonna be quiet.
I died inside, and I wanted to scream, but nothing would come out.
I was like, I'm excited because I was. It was what happened was it was on in my room, right? Because it was me and my. It was I was on in the Bronx for me, right? And it was on in a living room, and I was sitting in the living room, and I was too scared to get up to turn it off, so I was just watching it, and I was just like, this is horrible. I don't like this. I really don't like this. And then like it ended, and all I did was just sit down and
I
absorb the
That
dread I just absorbed.
I'm not
I feel
sure
that.
what my first horror movie was. I know it was one of three. It
Ooh.
was either The Birds,
Oh God.
Alien, or that Friday the 13th that has like the Dream Warriors.
Okay, yeah, that one's
Because
great.
Is
my
that
mother
free?
my mother loved horror movies, but I wasn't allowed to watch them, so she'd wait till we went to bed and she'd put one on or something like that. And I would always kind of sneak out and try and like watch from, because as soon as you're told you can't do something,
Oh,
you
it's
know,
over. I have to do it.
yeah, I have to
Yeah.
do it now. I have to do it. So I would have to see what it is she was watching, and there were several instances where I was like, can I unwatch that?
I love it. Horror movies for a long time definitely gave me like I am very hard to scare now. I stand by the fact that
Hmm.
it's very hard to frazzle me unless something like unless something I can't immediately explain happens, and it has to be like a stretch. Like if I heard a roar in my house, I'd be like, well, obviously my neighbors upstairs have a powerful sound system, and that's why I heard that. Like it would take a lot for me to like just be truly frazzled. But horror movies have always been just something that have been like something for me to easily like, oh, I can watch this and I can find funny in it, like it's jokey, and I can just sit down and get a quick a bit of a shock, because everybody gets jump scared. So a quick jump scare wouldn't be bad for me.
Yeah.
But like I think
Right.
horror movies, particularly Friday the 13th, they've just never made sense to me. Like as a whole kind of films, they just never made sense because it's a series of like a man just being unstoppable. And it's like, what is wrong with these people? Is anyone taking any precautions in this world? Like, what is this?
The before we dig into the lore of, it's actually fairly complicated lore once we get to it, of Michael Myers.
Very.
What kind of, for both of you guys, what kind of horror actually like strikes a chord with you? Like, what's the thing that actually still gets a reaction out of you the way it's intended to?
Oceanic horror. Like anything
Oh,
involving the water, I can't do the ocean.
okay.
See, that's fair. Because fuck the ocean.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that. But
fucking
there really isn't too many like for me at least. I mean, obviously there's Jaws, but I otherwise I don't know. Not too many ocean based horror movies have gotten to me. But
Sphere was kind of weird, but it
yeah,
didn't really feel like horror to me. But
What's funny is that Jaws never scared me because Jaws was just like just don't go to the beach. Like that was just like the
it's a
whole
very simple solution to that one.
like it just
Yeah,
don't go to the like the whole time everybody was like Jaws completely altered American history as we know it. People were afraid to go in the water, and I was like, all right, then just don't go in the water.
yeah, it's very easy
problem solved.
to
It's that
continue
simple.
not doing that thing.
Just
Yeah.
don't go in the water. There's a shark, and don't go in the water. Why must you be in the water when there's this mega shark there?
So, Donovan, for you, which type of horror kind of stands above the rest for you?
See, I'm a psychological horror guy.
Hmm.
I like that
Ooh.
shit that really leaves you kind of unsettled, and usually I found that the simpler the premise, the more impactful it is to me. Like my favorite horror movie is The Blair Witch Project, which is probably very
Ooh, a
decisive
classic.
as whether or not people like it or not.
Yeah.
But to me, it was so beautifully executed and great for its time, and I still think it holds up personally. But
Blair Witch is
I can totally
amazing, dude.
understand.
I
If
I
actually
watched
somebody
this
was
with
like
my girlfriend
dated.
actually.
I like it
Very.
more than I used to. I used to
Yeah.
hate Blair Witch when it first came out, but I was in high school when it first came out, and it was for me it was just one of those things that was kind of like overblown. Everybody was like, "Oh, I'm so scared and I'm unsettled and all this," and I was like, I don't really see it. But as I got older and I actually like appreciate more subtle things. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I can see how someone might have felt a certain way about this when they saw it for the first time, like,
Did you
And
guys see the second one?
yeah.
The
yeah,
second one's horrible. It's
it's
such a
not good.
bad movie. It's
It's
such a bad movie, dude.
which second one? The actual Blair Witch Project 2 or the
I'm
Blair Witch?
no, the Blair Witch Project 2. Like
Okay,
when
then yeah.
they're inside of that like cabin and the
Yeah, the
girl's not a witch,
yeah.
but she's a witch.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what the fuck is happening right now? And then
Above
like
everything though, that goth girl get it.
that goth girl was a bad bitch,
She
man.
was a
I
man.
that's a bad bitch.
I don't know where she's at now, but what's up?
All right. So when it gets to Michael Myers, the reason why I wanted to ask about the genres is that over the course of the Halloween movies, depending on which timeline you follow, because there are like what 3 distinct timelines in the Halloween franchise.
Yeah, I think
It's
there's
so
three.
unnecessarily complicated.
Yeah, the after you get past a certain point in one of the timelines, it starts getting more supernatural. Like obviously a guy who can take bullets to the head and shit like that and keep coming is inherently supernatural, but they really like double and triple down on it over the course of the thing and introduce the curse and the Celtic druids, and I'm not really clear on how that curse is supposed to function.
Well, yeah, and just to clarify for anybody that's listening, that's like, "What the fuck?"
Anyone
I have to go.
sane?
I have to go look at this. Don't bother. They never elaborate on it,
It
ever.
just
It
Okay,
just ends.
so I'm
it
not
ends.
remembering it wrong. It's just
Nope.
It
It
just
just
ends, and then a guy has a druidic tattoo on his arm, and he's like,
yep.
"Oh no, what have I become?" And I'm just like, "What the fuck is happening here? Who wrote this?"
because I the way I remember the curse is that it was supposed to be like a thing that was like they put a curse on a child in one family, and
Yep.
then to satisfy the terms of the curse the child has to kill everyone in the family, and then upon doing so there's prosperity for the community. So
Yeah.
that basically says to me like because one person keeps getting away, Michael keeps stacking up these other bodies, and it's like you could just let that one person die, and that community would prosper. If that's how it functions.
If only you people weren't so selfish.
Yeah,
Just stop being jerks, you asses. Let me kill.
So, and you're right. And depending on where you go in the series, it goes from being a really simple psychological kind of slasher,
hmm
very dry, but still really brilliant and like is good in its simplicity because that's what I really liked about the first Halloween. It was very like I grew up in Illinois, so it being in the fictional town in the Midwest was like all the more, oh, this is cool because it does look like something that I see like on a daily basis.
yeah,
And it going from that to Celtic whatever with curses and the fucking stars and shit.
yeah.
And fucking weird.
I
It,
loved it. I thought it was so fucking dumb.
I
I was
kind
but
like,
of
like,
what is happening here?
I was able to actually pin it down as being filmed in California pretty quickly,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
because there's no way that shit in Illinois like that looks that green and
And
that
then,
nice on October 30th. There's
you know what? Though, you would be surprised because it's very hit or miss. We either get like really early fall or
yeah,
super late fall.
yeah.
It will happen sometimes, but no, 9 times out of 10, it is not that green. And plus, if you look at some shots, you can blatantly see palm trees.
Absolutely, especially in fucking the third one. In the
Yeah.
third one, there's moments where it's straight up like on like highways in California. And I'm like, I know that highway.
Yeah.
I live by it.
Yeah. It's like you guys couldn't fly out to Illinois. Like, no, probably because 9 times out of 10, it was just cold as shit, and they were like, "We're not filming there in October. Are you crazy?" Like,
Oh yeah, especially with the budget they had for the first movie. It was like a fucking nickel in comparison to all the other horror movies that were being made. It was made on the budget of $300,000, which is fucking nothing.
they ordered up lunch one day, and they were like, "All right, we got to split this between everybody, and it's gonna last us a month."
We gotta split this lunch between everyone present. That's insane to me. It's so ridiculous.
And that was the crazy thing. It's like they really I think with horror movies in particular, when you have a limited budget to work with, that's when the creative juices really start coming out, and that's what gives everything such a cool, fun, you just passion love, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you can feel it in that first movie, and like even now, like they originally wanted to do a sad clown mask for Michael Myers instead of the signature painted Captain Kirk mask.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, that would have been cool. It would have been all right because clown, but the iconic feel of that first mask.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you can't replace that now.
No.
You know.
I kind of wonder where they keep getting the masks, because you got to think, like, after a certain point, after like the 70s, that they wouldn't be making Captain Kirk masks anymore that you can just paint over. So I really wonder, like,
Captain Kirk mask is always the funniest shit to me. When I found that out, I was like, what the hell?
like, do you think they called up Shatner and like, yo, we gotta do a plaster cast of your face because we're making
Like,
another
man,
Halloween movie?
like, hey, Will, you mind if we get a favor? And he's like, I guess.
So like that was the weird thing, right? It's like the first movie, the premise for Michael's get up is very simple. The first person he actively kills is this, fucking like side road worker dude.
It was like a
hotel
technician.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he takes his jumpsuit and then he later breaks in to a hardware store in Haddonfield where he takes a Halloween mask, and that's the mask you see. And that works as a simple premise of, okay, that's how he got his outfit. But anything after that, it's like whenever he loses his mask, he deliberately goes and finds a jumpsuit and that same mask.
Oh,
As
bro,
if,
go
as
to it.
if this dude was like, well, before I kill, I have to get my outfit together.
He's like, yo, I got a signature look. I got a brand to maintain.
Look,
Yeah.
imagine this. Look, all right, all the shit he goes through. He's like, look, maybe he's superstitious. He's like, look, if I don't have the exact fit on, they might be able to kill me this time. So I'm gonna put on the exact same thing where I had my honor run and I did so great.
It's like with NBA players wear the same pair of socks. for every
Exactly,
game.
it's
Yeah.
him. It's that same mask, that same fucking jumpsuit, and no undergarments, bro.
Yep.
He's
Okay.
about efficiency.
Yep. If
That makes
there was a
sense.
number on it, he'd probably need that same number every time.
Mhm.
Lucky number.
It's a lot.
So when it comes to the three distinct timelines, Donovan, do you have one of those timelines that you hate and one of them that you think is like the superior timeline?
So, in my opinion, it realistically should have ended after Halloween 2. I think Halloween 2 was a perfect, good ending. It didn't need to go anywhere past that.
Yeah, Halloween 1 and
yeah.
2 actually do feel cohesive in that if you watch them back to back, they feel like one movie.
They do.
Yeah.
I personally I like till 3, because 3 is like, oh, it's not her, it's some other girl, but it's her,
Yeah.
her saving the day this time. And I was like, you know what? I get it. This is stupid, but I get it. I'm on board for this.
Yeah, I guess we should. I don't know if I don't think we explained this for people who might not be aware and might actually be tuning into this for legit lore instead of the bullshitting. So the Halloween franchise has I want to say it's 3 distinct timelines. I think Halloween 1 and 2 are canon to all of the timelines, and then they branch off of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I just sent an image in the chat here that you can feel free to use. It does kind of visually show where the timelines go with each set of movies.
Oh, this
So
has got like a Back to the Future feel to it as well. Like how
exactly.
they there you go, perfect.
And it's so, like I keep saying, it's needlessly complicated because depending on where you go, there there are 3 different movies called Halloween in the Halloween movie franchise. And the thing that makes it all the more frustrating is that the canonical sequel to Halloween is entitled Halloween.
Yeah,
And it's just
so based off of this timeline or this chart you've shown me, the first 2 movies are only canon to 2 of the timelines, not 3 of them.
yes.
And then
The zombie ones take over.
yeah,
and then they become
as
canon
you
for
mentioned, the Halloween 2018 is supposed to be a direct sequel to Halloween 1978, and then Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, which will be next year.
Yeah.
Halloween 3 Season of the Witch has nothing to do with Michael Myers, so we're not talking about it.
Absolutely none.
And Halloween 2007 and Halloween 2 2009 sit on their own timeline entirely. Are those the Rob Zombie ones?
Yeah.
Those are the Rob Zombie ones.
Okay, so
yes.
those sit alone on their own timeline by themselves. So we're looking at 4 distinct timelines, not 3.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus. So after Halloween 2, it arcs over to H2O, which I think brought back Jamie Lee Curtis, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
it did.
Yes.
And then Halloween
That was my
Resurrection.
movie, bro.
Whereas Halloween
H2O was my shit.
Halloween 4, 5, and 6, I think deal with characters that are not Jamie Lee Curtis. It's just her family, like her bloodline, because she gets killed in a car accident in one, but then there's another one that it turns out she faked her death. I think that one's H2O, where you find out she faked her death. It's like a whole thing. So one timeline where she's dead pretty early on, they don't use her again. Another one where she's there. I don't know about the 2018 Halloween because, like I said, the most recent ones I have not seen.
I will say, for all of these, there is something fun to take from all of them. I still like all the movies in their own right. Just maybe not for the right reasons. But the ones that are actually worth watching genuinely are Halloween 1 and 2. H2O was shockingly good, and if there was going to be like a years later, kind of sequel that could have put an end to the franchise, H2O, although the stupid fucking title, hated that title a lot.
How H2O's title was so stupid, but that's the first one I saw ever. That's the first one I saw because I was like, "Oh, Busta Rhymes is in this one," and he beats Michael Myers up a kung fu and he kills him. Busta Rhymes canonically killed Michael Myers. Like that's a real thing
with kung
that
fu.
happened. I swear that happened. That's real.
That was a real thing because
he had to use kung fu because if it had been a rap battle, it would have been too easy. He would have killed him in that easily.
Well, in the original test screenings for that, Busta Rhymes was killed off.
Yeah.
Early, like very early, and people watching it were like, no, I liked him, bring him back. And so they redid all the shooting and they made him the hero of the movie, and people were like, fuck yeah, now that's what I wanted.
Redid the film to make Busta Rhymes slaughter Mike Myers. They redid it. They were like, we're not fucking having this, dude. Get him
crazy.
back, man. Get him back. What are you doing? What are you doing, people?
Like you can't kill off Busta like 10 minutes into the film. That's first of all, we paid this dude too much money. we need more. We need more out of him for what we paid. Second of all, people love Busta Rhymes, so you can't just
especially in the 90s, bro.
Oh, yeah.
90s, early 2000s, bro.
Oh,
When he made freaking Y2K.
Yeah.
Everyone was on Busta Rhymes, and I was just like, yeah, you know what? But that was the first one I saw, and it was probably bad that I saw that one first, because I was like, all right,
It
this is
played
kind of
fun.
a jokey game movie, everything. I think this is silly here. And then I saw like two, and him just like murdering everyone in two,
Yeah.
and I was like, why can't they stop this man?
There was this kind
He's
of
just a dude.
weird thing, and I want to say it was in the late '90s, early 2000s, where a lot of slashers or killers in horror movies had already been established for a little bit, and they wanted to put someone up who would just beat the shit out of them. They're like, oh, this guy's a badass. Like introducing a Dragon Ball Z character. Like, oh, we're gonna show you he's a badass because he's gonna absolutely stomp this established character who you already know is a badass. Like, it's a shorthand way of telling you this person is awesome, and it just does not work in horror movies unless it's Freddy versus Jason, in which case it's fucking rad.
I hated that movie, but everybody loved it. I hated Freddy vs. Jason. I thought it was a waste of time.
It's not
But
even a horror movie. It's just
it's a rap battle. It's pretty much a rap battle, but it's like freaking what you call it. It's horror movie characters in a rap battle.
It's Godzilla versus Kong, and because Godzilla versus Kong did so well, I bet you we're gonna see more of these movies coming back.
Oh, of course, dude.
Anytime now.
Hey, I'm gonna cough really quick. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Listen, I got this.
So, yeah, the distinct timelines are kind of difficult to follow. I haven't watched the newest ones, but I've watched, I want to say, most of these on the list. Season of the Witch I saw a long time ago. I did not watch it. I did not rewatch it on my little rewatch binge that I did, just because like I was going through it and Donovan was like, yo, that movie is buns. Like, just don't. And I was like, all right. So my wife and I were kind of playing this little game with the rewatches. I like to do kind of like a play of the game kind of thing, like a kill of the movie sort of thing, to see like
best kill.
Yeah, like what's the best kill? Like what's the best one in the movie? And I can't remember which one from each individual movie, but the one that stands out to me, the one that I was just like, as soon as I saw it, I knew that was like play of the game. That was kill of the movie. It's the couple that's in the hospital and they sneak into this spa.
My god, have sex. I remember that one, right?
And you know, they sneak in there, they're gonna have, but then they don't, and then he gets out and he's got to fix the thing, and Michael turns the heat on it all the way up.
Yes,
and then just dunks her into the thing. He just holds her into this boiling water after he beats the crap out of her, and like you got like titties flopping around and stuff, and he's just boiling her, and I was like, I was like, that's fucking kill of the movie right there.
I love it, dude. For me, what's my favorite kill? I think my favorite kill out of all of them. Well, no, there's a new one. Oh God, I'll put it in the chat right now.
Yeah,
it's magnificent. Oh Lord, I'll show you right now. Oh my goodness, you're gonna see it and you're gonna be like, I cannot believe this happened. It's so stupid. We talked about it on the Snark Tank. And we were like, I wonder what happens, but let me see if I can find it.
Donovan, what's your favorite kill in the franchise if you had to pick one?
So hold on, I feel like I know the one that Sweeney is about to pull up.
Oh, okay.
Is it from the new movie?
Yeah, it's glorious.
Yep. Yeah. No, I know the one because it's right up there with me now too, because I watched Halloween Kills with my brother, because I made him watch Halloween 2018 with me, which is another thing I was gonna say, is that Halloween 2018 it had no right being as good as it was. It really was a good one.
Let me see if I know which one this one is here.
It's glorious.
Yeah, I'm gonna look really quick.
It's glorious. I saw it and I was just like, this is magnificent.
Jesus Christ. Like,
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
don't understand. Like that it's so good, but it's also so
yeah, yeah.
ridiculous because your grip on that gun would have to be so loose for something like that to work.
You wouldn't be able to shoot it if your grip was
Yeah,
that loose.
exactly. That thing would have gone
It would just
flying.
fall out your hand. It would just go flying. And so the clip we're talking about is Michael Myers is like in the car, and some lady dressed as a nurse starts walking up to him and shooting at him. And what happens is Mike Myers kicks the door open and hits the girl's gun, and it just turns around in her hand, and she somehow still pulls the trigger and shoots herself in the face.
Yeah, I literally had, I paused the movie to turn to look at my brother, who looked at me and was like, "Are you dumb? What, like, how could you do that?"
It's such a goofy ass kill. Is that the one that you were gonna say is your
That's
favorite one?
that's probably my current favorite. Or what's another
No,
one that's really
mine.
great?
I think it's because it's so fresh for me.
Yeah.
It's from the new movie. Um, so I guess we are treading the spoiler territory, but the sequel that I'm talking about is the Halloween Kills, the
Mhm.
sequel to Halloween 2018, and it picks up immediately where Halloween left off. So in the same way that Halloween 2 picks up where the original Halloween
Right.
ended, as Michael Myers is in this burning house, and the firefighters show up, put out the fire, and he gets out, and Michael exits this burning building, and all the firefighters are just standing and looking at him,
Yeah, like, oh shit.
and they're just like, "Oh, what's this guy doing?" And he starts walking at them with an axe, and nobody's doing a single thing until finally he just starts slaughtering all of them one by one and doesn't do a single fucking thing until one of them finally is like, "I guess I'll shoot him with a fire hose." And it does nothing to him. He just continues to walk at them.
I've seen
And
that
just
clip. He just
Oh
like
my
walks.
God.
It's so ridiculous. But that's another one that's like, if you hit a person with the pressure that comes out of a fire hose, like the full pressure that comes out of a fire
Yeah.
Oh,
hose,
it's ripping some skin off, dude.
that would
It's
fuck them
bad.
up so
It's
bad.
bad.
So it's like the problem I had with that clip wasn't that he just walks through it, because he's a supernatural unstoppable killer. That part I already accept. You know, we've got what, 30, 40 years now of established he can take it, you know. So him walking through it doesn't bother me. It's that when they did the shot, they have like this really wimpy like little like garden hose stream that they're using to hit him with. Like it's not a fire hose, clearly. And it's like, how hard would it have been to like just CG a really powerful jet of water and him just not affected? Like, how
Yeah, not
hard
at
would
all.
that have been to do?
Guys, I have I have another kill to talk to you guys about. It was in Halloween 2 where the guy that was like a psychologist that was reviewing Jason, where he went to the house and he saw some guy dressed as Jason walking away from like the house where the Myers family lived. And the guy was like speed walking and he was gonna shoot him. But what happens is he gets hit by a cop car into another car, and the car blows up and it kills this random kid.
Oh, yeah, it was in the first one.
It's
Yeah,
a
he's
random
trying to
kid.
take out that random person, and then the cop car just slams it, pins him to a tree, doesn't it? Like right to the tree, and then it lights on fire, and they're like, "Oh, well, I guess he's dead."
Yo, it was
It's not even a Michael Myers kill, but it is a kill because of Michael
Michael
Myers.
Myers.
that kill is so insane because it's a series of unfortunate events
Yeah,
that leads to someone's death,
It's-
and I couldn't believe it happened like that.
it was what's that movie that's like the people who escaped the Reaper and then all those accents. Final Destination, is that?
Yes, it
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
Final
So it's
Destination level kill.
so it's like a Final
insane.
Destination crossover that was out in the open this whole time.
God, I love
It's
that.
crazy. I remember there was another one that I liked. It involved a pitchfork. Because that one was pretty good. Because I really like when... Because, yeah, you know, the knife is good. It's his signature weapon, you know. But whenever he can pick something else up and use that, it's kind of cool. But the lamest kill... I'm going to go into, like, lamest. Just, like, wimpiest, like, this is, like, bullshit. Is that first one that he has... Well, it's not his first kill, but the one he has in the first movie with the phone cord.
Yeah.
Like that one girl is on the phone and he comes up behind her and he wraps the phone cord around her. But it's like he doesn't do like a closed loop like a garrote. Like he's just got it like pulled up against her neck at first. I think he eventually does loop it around. But for anyone over a certain or under a certain age, you might not be familiar with cords on phones, but corded phones have really wimpy ass cords
Very
on them.
wimpy.
Like they're like you would go through phones very often because of how easily it was not only to just snap that cord, but for it to come out of the phone entirely. To it just like strip the wire or pull the thing out. Easy. No problem. So when I see that, I'm just like, did people in the 70s not know how or were phones made better then?
Yeah, and that
Were the
was
phones
another
better?
thing. Is that like the thing I respect about the newer Michael in these new movies, although they won't show it because, you know, movie laws and whatever, but the fact that he commits to killing children in this movie,
That
kind
part.
of cool. Kind of cool. I
That's
like
that's how
that.
you know somebody's really evil. You know, this is
Yeah.
like, yeah, this guy
And
killed a kid.
and I'm not even talking like teenagers. I'm talking like borderline pre-teens, like somebody that you could still imagine like believes in Santa and shit, you know. And he's just capping these dudes. And I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, when he takes out just like full blown children, it's like the thing you always wanted to do in Skyrim.
Right.
And then you see it in action and you're like, "Oh, I guess this is why they didn't put that in the game." Like
I just respect it.
because I want to say that kids getting murked in movies, I think automatically bumps something to an R rating.
Yeah,
I think
it does.
automatically.
You just can't show it.
No, because in Star Wars, he kills the younglings.
Well, yeah, but I mean like showing it, you know.
I've never seen a kid get murdered in a movie
Yeah.
ever.
That's what I
I don't.
mean.
I wish they showed it. I wish it was more realistic. Like if like a real villain's gonna do real villain shit,
Yeah,
you know.
it's because you always go
So-
to PG-13 movies. You got to go
Well,
to
I
those. You got to go to those rated
Well,
R
I
movies.
I go to rated R movies, but I never see him take it there, you know.
Yeah, they
Like
don't a lot anymore. Actually, I've noticed that it used to be a thing that wasn't as, but now they just won't. They won't mess with it. Like I'm not gonna go into that whole like, oh, you couldn't get away with that today kind of thing. But like, you don't see something like The Exorcist being made today because you'd have a lot of people like really putting something with a child actor in that context under a microscope because
Yeah.
like if you take the standards of today, you know, and the outrage and all that other shit and you apply it to some older movies, people will be like, I think it's a little problematic that she uses a crucifix to masturbate with. And it's like,
Well,
yes, it's the devil.
I,
I mean,
I
to
forget
be
what-
fair, it is extremely problematic, but
well,
it's pretty fucking funny. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
no, I forget what horror movie it was, but there was a significant role portrayed by a child, and I think the way that they filmed it, whenever he was on set, he didn't even know that it was a horror movie. The way like they worked it with
Yeah.
him there, and I think that's so fucking funny because he left that set just like, wow, that was a fun, good day at work. Like, a great time,
It just did not mess that kid up at all. Like,
and even a little bit didn't care.
yeah, I think the girl from The Exorcist,
Grew up to be super fucking hot.
I think she still gets flack from that movie today. I think like people still give her shit about it.
People got to get over it.
Yeah.
She's
On the flip side of that though, sometimes I kind of I there's it's like a fine line. I kind of like when you get someone who's this monstrous killer and then they get to a kid and the kid says something or does something and the killer kind of lets down its guard. And I think it was it Halloween 4 or 5 where he's going
one of
after
those.
and she's in the coffin. She's in that coffin and she calls him uncle. And it's like someone turned on the lights in his head for a second, you know, like a brief spark of humanity sort of like returns to him. And she's like, if you're going to I want to see your face at least once.
I remember
before I
that
die."
one. Yeah, I remember that.
And he does it. And I like that they don't show his face in that shot. Like it's still like he does take off his mask and it's for her benefit, but the viewer doesn't necessarily get the same thing. And I just thought that was kind of like an interesting thing that they used. And I don't see that trope or that kind of like plot device get used effectively a lot. But
See, and
People
I
don't
hear
like
you.
villains. That's why people like villains now. Like it's definitely the paradigm for like kinds of characters people like is very much so shifted
mhm.
because people just like bad guys. People have a huge boner for the bad guys. I realize that whenever I go on my raids of like how Vegeta sucks dick and everybody's like, "What are you talking about? Vegeta's amazing." You know, it's just the idea of that like people don't like they don't like redeemable characters because everyone kind of sees things as black and white. To be fair, Michael Myers is a monster. He sucks, you know. Like he should definitely be like
Yeah.
taken out back and put down. but but in all fairness though, like most bad guys and things don't really have moments. Like I remember that moment. I think that's in Halloween. That's the third one or the fourth one, right? Where he has to see the face of she has to see the face of Mike Myers.
Yeah, it's, her uncle. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, oh, that's that's a moment, but at the same time, it's like, why would you do that? Just shoot him. Don't talk to him. I don't care if that's my uncle.
See, I I have a love hate relationship with that because on one hand, it is doing something different in the series that I think is cool.
Mhm.
And like you said, you don't really see that enough, but also at the same time, because of that one scene, I lost all fear of Michael Myers because now he's a bitch.
Now
Like
now he's a
I'm not scared of you,
bitch.
bro. You're over here fucking crying because your niece wants to look at your face. You're a fucking loser now. You're a dweeb. I'm not scared of you. It's cool. You're more human and like whatever, but also you're a bitch.
Yeah, it's like, did you really want a human moment from this monster of a man, or did you want it to stay a monster of a man the whole time?
Because I think that's the beauty of Michael is that
Hmm.
there wasn't a rhyme or reason, you know, as much as they wanted to find one.
Oh yeah,
There
and
wasn't one.
with each additional sequel, you come up with more reasons as to why he is the way he is. Because I think the man in the black coat at the end of the fifth one,
Yeah, I'm back.
isn't he part of that society?
He's one of
Well,
the druids.
see, that's the thing, right? They established in later like interviews what was the symbol, what was the guy in the black hat, like where was this all going?
Hmm.
And the director and the writers flat out were like, yeah, we have no idea. We were just kind of throwing shit at the wall, and we would figure it out later. So like there wasn't even a plan for that. So it just was.
You know, there's a I want to say multiple times, multiple instances where Michael goes into a crowded place,
Yeah,
like the a police precinct, for example, and they don't show you those kills. You know, it's like someone shows up later and everybody's dead.
yeah, they
Amen.
just did.
And I think it would be kind of cool. I don't know if they've done this in any recent movies. If they have, I definitely got to go see it. If you had a scene where Michael walks in and it's similar to the church scene in Kingsman, you know,
Oh God.
where
That
it's just shit goes bananas and he's killing people with whatever he can get his hands on. Like he starts off with the knife, obviously, but maybe a cop like disarms him of the knife and people just keep coming at him, and it's like I would love a scene like that.
that's kind of what happens in this new movie
Oh
at the
god,
very
now I
beginning
gotta see
with
it.
those firefighters. Like it's not over the top badass, but it is like kind of over the top where it's like, oh, he's just fucking slaughtering all of you. This
And
movie, the new one that came out, is I think I could be wrong, but I think the most kills in a movie Michael has ever gotten.
Jesus.
Really? Holy
Yeah,
crap.
it is
He kills a
insane.
lot of people in
Also,
two.
I
there
know.
There's
it's
a lot of people in that movie.
it's also probably higher quality kills too, because
Oh yeah,
firemen are jacked, dude. Like you firemen, I mean they might not carry a gun, but I would not want to fuck with one carrying an axe. That's for
Yeah,
fucking
man.
sure, dude. Like
yeah, yeah.
most firemen that I've met could probably beat you to death with the helmet or the oxygen tank. You know, like I
Easily.
I would not want to fuck with a fire. And if he just mows through them, that's just him thick dicking it.
Oh, and that's what happened, dude. Like at one
Just
point, there's like
fucking.
that giant chainsaw that's like on a wheel. It's got like to cut open like
Oh yeah,
cars, you
yeah.
know, and he just flat out like slabs it into a dude's skull.
Oh my
And
God.
it's really fucking badass.
Oh man, that's
Holy dude.
now I'm interested. I mean, I was kind of interested before, but now I'm kind of like, oh, maybe I should see this. But I'm gonna have to see the other two first, because it's Halloween, the 2018, and okay. Oh no, so I just need to see Halloween, the
Yeah,
sequel
which
to
is good.
Halloween.
Yes,
Yes.
So I'll have to see that. I imagine that one's probably on like Shutter or something, right?
yeah. If not, I do think it's on Hulu for sure.
On Hulu.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out before I see Halloween Kills. Halloween Ends is the next one. Maybe they're actually ending it, or maybe not. I don't know.
I'm hoping so.
So we do have a couple questions here that I posted the thing up on Twitter, tagged you, and so I mean some of these questions probably come from your people. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh my
I
God.
like the way you said that.
First, we'll do this the semi serious one because Swim, who was on our last episode, actually put one in. He says thoughts on how the new reboot movies only acknowledge the first two and rewrite over all the subpar sequels. We see this trend more and more. Was there anything post three worth salvaging, or are we better off with the reboot?
We're better off with the reboot, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were certain elements that I think were cool.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, when it came to 3 and 4 and whatever and 5, like the niece angle, and her ending up going to be the kind of picking up where Michael would have ended. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was kind of cool. Um, not that they needed to dive deep into like a whole nother series with her. I just thought that would have been like a cool little ending of like, oh, you think it's over, but it's not. Uh, but other than that, no, we're better off with these ones.
So if
They're
you
Yeah.
were to say that one timeline was superior to the others, it's the reboot timeline.
yeah, and you know what? I mean, I would even go as far as to say that the Rob Zombie Halloweens were really good too.
Yeah, we haven't talked about those much.
No, those
I
were
only
good.
saw the first one of those that were, but that was pretty cool. It was very to the point, you know.
Mhm.
It was kind of just like I'm killing people. That's it. He had like a moment where he met a kid, and the little kid looked at him, and he was like, "Oh, this guy's really tall," and then he kind of just walked off. He was like, "Ah, you're not worth it. You won't scream enough," and he kind of just left the little kid there. So
Yeah.
I saw that one. I was like, this is like apparently kind of creepy. You know, if you live in the middle of nowhere, this could be problematic.
Yeah, because like if you've seen any Rob Zombie movies and you're a fan of them,
Hmm.
you'll like the Rob Zombie Halloween. His
Mhm.
original idea was to make an all prequel movie about Michael Myers where it was just him in his younger years.
Hmm.
That would have been good because you get a taste of that. The first half of the movie is that,
Okay.
which I think is the stronger half of the film.
Is he in the hospital when that happens, or is this before he gets sent off to the hospital?
Before he gets sent off, and then a little bit in the hospital.
So does it kind of, it doesn't treat, is his older sister still the first kill, or is that just the last one before he gets sent away?
No, I think that did that even happen in that movie?
I don't think it
No, it
does.
Oh.
no, I don't think so either. I think his MO in this one is just like your typical I come up from a fucked up Rob Zombie family
Oh.
and my and so like
So
I
he
try to
he
be
gives him like
able
a tortured past instead of just kind of like the all-American family.
right, yeah.
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 I gotcha. Huh.
Which I mean you could write off as like, oh, that's very simple, but I think it worked well in context of like, hey, this is how killers happen though.
All right. Yeah, okay. I actually I don't I want to say I saw the Rob Zombie one, but I can't remember anything that, maybe I didn't. Maybe it was another Rob Zombie movie that I saw that I'm thinking was Halloween. I don't know. But so I'm going to have to go find that. I'm going to have to find the Halloween one. Still not going to bother with Season of the Witch. I've done all of the core timeline, like the first timeline.
Do you know why
Um,
Season of the Witch is a thing?
why?
Because at one point they wanted to make Halloween an anthology series where
Yeah.
Really?
each entry was a new horror movie that took place on Halloween.
Fucked up shit
Which
that happens on Halloween. Yeah.
which
Oh,
I
that
thought
makes
would have been
sense.
fucking dope. It would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's why there wasn't even an established like lore with Michael Myers because it was only supposed to be the one movie.
Hmm.
But then money.
Then money. Money got involved.
Yeah.
Let me grab another one of these here. All right, so at the real Mobesi, I don't know,
Hell yeah.
asks, if Michael Myers was in a wheelchair, would you consider a duel with him?
No, I'm not scared of people in wheelchairs. They're not threatening.
They're
No.
not threatening.
They're not. That's why I don't take myself seriously. Everybody that gets worked up about me, I'm like, really? Yeah, I'm the thing that threatens you. Fucking shut up, pussy. So if Michael Myers was rolling around town, fucking doing his heavy mask breathing, having an asthma attack in his wheelchair, I'm just gonna be like, bro, you good?
you, you gonna make it? Like, yeah, I don't know. I think he kind of loses his intimidation factor without that.
The stairs, man.
Well,
Hit him
hold
with the
up.
stairs. That's
So
classic.
he does have,
Exactly.
okay. So he does have certain powers.
Right,
Michael
right.
Myers does have a certain set of powers that we haven't really gone into. Normally we kind of go into like the powers and shit like that, but like Michael Myers is just the dude who takes a fuckload of punishment and you can't kill him. Shoot him in the head, you light him on fire. That's just it. He just doesn't die. But there are a couple other powers that he has that canonically are sort of his abilities, but every other slasher and every other horror movie sort of adopts them without them being powers. And one of them is his ability to only be walking and yet get there before you. You
Yeah,
know?
that doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. I think when people aren't looking at him, he runs.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. He definitely runs when people aren't looking at him.
So if he's in a wheelchair, does he maintain that power? So if he's wheeling up behind you with fucking knife like held in his teeth or whatever the fuck, and and you're running and shit, and then he just appears in front of you somewhere, like he's already in the house when you get there in his fucking wheelchair. Like he's at the top of the stairs even, and you're just like, what the fuck? How did this guy get here? Like, if he still had that power, would he be intimidating, or would it just be too confusing to be scary?
And can he circumvent stairs though? Or like, can he only just go forward along like linear paths? Because then it's dangerous once you can't go up and get away from him. Because technically that means if you go in a tree, he'll be in a tree too with a wheelchair. You know? So like you gotta explain this a little more for me, man, before I'm like this or that.
I think it just raises too many questions I would be thinking about throughout the entire movie before I could even like begin to take this seriously.
All right, so we take his horror teleportation out of it, but he's still a dude who no matter how many times you fucking kill him, he doesn't die. Is that still intimidating if he's in a wheelchair?
Yeah.
I mean, it's still weird to me because how can I shoot you in the face with a shotgun and you're fine, but you're still in a wheelchair, bro? What do you mean?
How did you not recover that? But the fucking the Kurt Cobain to the face.
But that's where the line is drawn for you. Why? Why is that?
There's a moment where he gets shot by a rocket launcher, and he's
They literally
fine.
throw TNT at this guy.
Yeah.
They're throwing explosives. And you know what? I'll go as far as, sorry, spoiler again, the new movie, he is literally stabbed in the back of the neck and shot in the head. And he still is like, nope, not dead. Fuck that.
I'm just, and I think somewhere in the lore they explain that there is no afterlife for him. He can't go to hell, he can't go to heaven, and so because of that, he dies, but then he's just alive again.
And then Satan's just like, dude, stop.
Like,
Don't.
dude, you're wildin'. You're real wild. You're tripping, dude.
Well, you're making Hitler uncomfortable. You need to get the fuck out of here.
You're making Hitler uncomfortable, bro.
The guy responsible for the Holocaust is not. He's not cool with you here.
He's not vibing with you, man.
Vibing with you. He's not feeling it. You put him on edge. You put him on edge, and really, anytime this guy gets on edge, it's not that I'm afraid of him. It's just he starts yelling and yelling, throwing his hands up, and then everyone else is throwing their hands up, and it turns into a whole thing for like a decade. And I can't have it down here. You gotta go.
So the point I'm making is like, no, he's not intimidating in a wheelchair.
Okay.
And I would not find him.
All right. So, the last question, sort of an anticlimax, but I'm kind of wondering like why this question was asked. This one feels like bait. Okay.
Okay.
So at God That Limps asks, is Michael Myers mentally handicapped?
You know, though,
maybe.
hold on. I've never even considered this theory, but the more I'm thinking about it, the more canonical it makes sense.
Right, because like I think this question was maybe supposed to be bait, but maybe not, because I know that in the 70s there was a lot of horror material that was basically that it just came from things that people didn't quite understand, and then they turned it into horror material. Like the whole of the Satanic Panic, is that. It's all of that. So, and then of course asylums, spooky mental hospitals, there's that. So maybe, and I can't speak for the original motivation of the story and everything, maybe there's an element of that where someone was sort of like demonizing this mental handicap of stabby make happy, like I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, no. I think that those people are often a bit stronger than the most average people. And therefore it would at least make sense why he was able to, crush a human skull.
Yeah,
like it was
Like it's made out of Play-Doh. Just that one shot is ridiculous because it's not even like there's like a crunch and then a pop. Like it's not like a Game of Thrones skull crush. You know,
Oh
it
no.
it is like someone got a skull-shaped wad of dough and just dug their fingers into it. It's just it doesn't make sense.
It just sounds like somebody put it's like somebody put a balloon over a tomato and popped it somehow. You're just like, what the fuck?
But yeah, maybe. So the doctor in, I want to say it's Halloween 2 or Halloween 4.
He's in like 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, he mentions when he's trying to talk Michael down, he talks to him about rage, about the rage that sort of like fills him, and that killing people is not going to satisfy that rage. It'll never go away. So it's kind of like, I mean, if it's a mental handicap, I don't think it's quite like, it's not like an autistic fit, if that's what this person is kind of like getting at, because he experiences it all the time. Like that's just him all the time. He doesn't
goes through that.
Yeah,
That's my secret, Doc. I'm always raging.
I'm always raging. And he doesn't have moments where he's like, nah, you know, I've killed enough for today. You know, I'm good. You know, he'll keep going and going and going. And it's because of that curse. But the curse doesn't exist in the other two timelines, right?
Would you argue that a curse isn't a disability?
I would say maybe it's a disability, but not necessarily a mental handicap. Like if curses were real,
Okay.
you would have to have like a whole other category of like disability.
Yeah, that's a lot of shit.
Yo,
That's
he's magically disabled. It's he's cursed. He's got an ancient
Literally
Mayan curse
magic.
on him. He's
That's what they
literally
call them.
magic.
That's what they call tainted boxes of Lucky Charms.
it's just the exact opposite of Lucky Charms. What would that cursed? What's a cursed hexes?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
hex the opposite of a charm?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to get out my Harry Potter books, find out. I don't know for sure. Cursed
Hexes are bad. Charms are usually good.
Yeah,
So I guess
cursed hexes.
no one has a hex bracelet. People that want good things to happen have charm bracelets. You know.
We gotta trademark this and make our own cereal. What would we put on it? Like, I mean, probably not a leprechaun, right? Because
No, definitely
We'll put a
not.
hag on it.
oh, there you go, like a hag.
Put a
Like
put a hag
full-blown
on it. But
there.
she'll have really full big breasts.
Yeah, but like
Be perfect.
but maybe, so not a hag, like a witch, like a sexy.
No, she'll
witch.
be a hag. She'll have the face of a hag, but she'll have some real rockin' titties.
You know,
Oh,
forget the cereal.
all right. Well, I guess I know what I'm drawing next.
We get the cereal. Donovan's about expansion. We could take this further than cereal.
We're gonna build an empire on the back of this big tittied hag. So those were the questions we got. Like I said, I think that last one was meant to be bait, but it does have kind
Well,
of
wait.
yeah, it does kind of have like a serious implication to it if you think about it for a minute. But I think it would only be Michael's only mentally handicapped in the sense of like how people fail to understand mental handicaps, you know? So it would be the same as being like, there was I remember when I was a kid, there was a Lifetime movie about like these kids that played Dungeons and Dragons and used it to like cast spells and shit like that. It was supposed to be, you
They
know.
made a movie about you guys?
Yeah, dude. And
Cool.
so it's kind of like that. It's like, oh, yes, this is a thing, but it's based off of a complete misreading of something in real life. You know what I mean? Like, we don't understand this thing, but we made a horror movie about it because we were scared of it anyway, because we don't understand it. So I could see that being a motivation. Someone being like, oh yeah, I'm afraid of mental handicaps. So yeah,
Right.
that.
No, that makes sense.
So I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying that
I am.
I'm just saying that he could have been built on the back of someone's misunderstanding of a mental handicap. So
That makes sense.
yeah, possible. I don't, like I said, I can't speak for what was in the mind of the guys when they first made it. It, like you said, it was, the whole movie was made on like a nickel, so we could be vastly overthinking it. You know,
Vastly.
getting into the territory of Celtic curses on in terms of like how much we're overthinking it. Uh, so that being said, we are. I think we've covered all the. Is there anything else that you want to get off your chest, Donovan, about the Halloween franchise or Michael Myers or anything like that?
I'm glad you took that because he was going to say something crazy probably, and you were like, "Just make sure it's about Michael Myers." All right.
No, no, I pretty much said my piece. My only thing is we have to know when the series just needs to be put to bed,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I
Yeah.
think that this one should have ended a bit ago. The new movie kind of just all set up for the third one,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm hoping that the third one will be the proper send off that this series needs
Yeah.
to, give it the closure that the fandom needs.
How likely do
Because
you think that is?
I'm really hoping if this the latest one, Halloween Kills, was a little,
It's a little eh.
a little bit
If you were to assign it an arbitrary rating of 1 to 10, where would you put it?
for the new one.
Yeah.
I would say like I'd give it like a solid 7 personally.
All right.
Like it's not bad. It's definitely worth watching.
And
Not bad.
what is the best one in the franchise?
I think the it's a little corny to say the original maybe, but I still think that one holds up very well. And it's timeless,
Mm-hmm.
even though it was all in the 70s.
Yeah.
Uh, but it still works now more than it has. And I would say even Halloween 2018 is arguably just as good, in my opinion.
Okay. How about you, Sween? How you feel about it?
Oh, two definitely.
Two.
I stand
Two
by
was
two for the
really
best
good
one.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually I would like to see if anyone. I really should have looked this up, but I'm just now thinking about it. If anyone has cut Halloween 1 and 2 together and just made them a single movie, because I think if you cut out the first maybe 5 minutes of Halloween 2, where it's basically just recap of
Hmm.
what happened last time, I wonder if it would be seamless enough where you would feel like you're getting just one long movie of.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That would be
Because
interesting.
I saw they were doing a marathon last year of pretty much all the series
Hmm.
up until I think 6 at the drive-in near my house,
Nice.
and uh, I went with my brother, and he was having a bit of a hard time following, uh, like just staying awake.
Yeah.
And so we watched the first two, and they were essentially played back to back.
Hmm.
And watching it in a drive-in setting, oh my god, fucking beautiful, perfect, and yes, it was very seamless.
Nice. I kind of.
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested in that. I would like to see that. I need to finish the rest of them, obviously, and I need to see the Rob Zombie ones because even though I think I saw them, I think maybe I just sort of fabricated that in my mind. So okay, yeah, we're pretty much at the end of talking about this masked weirdo, and then yeah. So that being said, is there anything, Donovan, that you would like to plug? Anything you'd like to hawk? Any wares that you have that you would like to pitch to us? Something that maybe slices and dices, or otherwise?
Oh yeah, of course. Fucking that's a stereotypical. Check me out on all my different things. You can look me
Yeah.
up on my Pornhub.
Yeah, if we were on camera, I'd be doing the whole Hot Ones thing. Oh, this camera, this camera, this camera, you know. But yeah, we can't show your Pornhub stuff on.
I mean, that's where I'm focusing all my energy at right now.
Yeah.
If you look up any video that has like BBC in the title, that's me.
Any video, period.
Yeah, all of them. They're all me. I'm putting in a lot of work. It has been a busy time with lockdown.
That's the name that you've been going with, BBC?
Yeah.
That's my name. It's not even. It's not a part of that category. That's his name.
in an ongoing legal battle with the BBC in
Community.
the UK, with the whole.
It's a real serious fucking engagement, and no one's budging.
Yeah.
No one's budging. They're like, "Hey, man, I'm gonna get this name."
All right. But yeah, anyone who is interested in finding him, I think you're at Real Young Crip on Twitter. And do you still have your YouTube channel and your podcast running? Is that a thing that we're?
Yeah, we're on a little hiatus, but yeah, it's still there. And some stuff is right around the corner.
Cool. Yeah. Crip in the Cradle is the name of the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I wanted to. I would have felt really bad if I got that wrong.
I would have laughed.
Probably not as bad as Sween feels every time he confuses Legends and Lore and Order.
Every fucking time. My brain sees two L's and then there's a lore in there, and I'm like, it's one of the two.
It's one of those.
I'm on both of them. They're both my jobs.
They're both me. All right, Sween, if you wanna take us out.
Okay, thank you for everybody tuning into another wonderful episode of Legends and Lore. Thank you, our guest Donovan. You rock. You're awesome, dude. Check him out. He's genuinely a funny guy. He does some comedy every now and then, and he kills it. And if you guys want to find me, I am Tom Sweeney 1278 on Twitter. And then we got our bud Renezuo. But thank you guys for tuning in. We appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time.
Have a good one.